This is tape number ET64 from the library of the Howard Thurman Educational Trust. Two meditations by Howard Thurman. This is side one, entitled Sing Your Own Song.
Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. I'm very glad to be back in Boston again and to do this first broadcast since my return. I wish to express my appreciation to all of you who have sent cards and letters expressing your appreciation for the weekly broadcasts during the period of my absence. Today I'm reading as a background from the Blue Cat of Castletown. Once in a blue moon there comes a cat that is blue, singing the river's song, seeking for you. The blue kitten was born under a blue moon in a warm nest of dry clover, Queen Anne's lace, and chicory, which his mother had made for him at the foot of a forgotten haycock in a Vermont meadow. It was the end of the first third of the 19th century and more than 100 years ago, which is a very long time indeed. The mother cat had been quite upset when she first saw the blue kitten. She had looked fearfully then toward the river, for like all cats, she had heard that a blue kitten could learn the river's song. Any kitten has a hard enough time to find a home for himself, for every kitten must find a hearth to fit his song. But a kitten who listens to the river and learns the river's song has the hardest time of all. Not only must the kitten who sings the river's song find a hearth to fit that song, but he must teach the keeper of that hearth to sing the same song. The river's song is very old, and mortals who have ears to hear and hearts to sing are fewer than few. The blue kitten curled his blue tail respectfully around him and sat facing the river. It had been dusk when he left the comfort of the familiar haycock and set forth, but it was almost dark when he came through the reeds and by the wild duck's nest to the edge of the river. He heard the heavy flapping of wings as the startled duck whirred upward. He wiggled the toes of his front paws wistfully. He did so want to turn about and go home, but he didn't. He only made his homesick toes be still, sat a little straighter, curled his tail a little closer, and waited. Both his ears were bent forward to listen, but the river was paying no attention whatever to the blue kitten. It gurgled and hissed and splattered along over the stone, splattered and hissed and gurgled. Not until the blue moon began to peer over the mountain did the river hush gradually into quiet. Only when, like a great cat's eye, the moon was clear of the mountain and its light reflected all along the water, the river began to sing, a song the kitten had never heard. And the kitten, a little dark shadow in the moonlight, felt the song slipping into his ears, along his backbone, and tingling even the tips of his forepaws and the end of his tail. And yet this was strange, for the song itself was as simple and wonderful as life in a meadow. Beauty and peace and content were everywhere, and the glory flooding over like the light of the blue moon shining around the blue kitten. Sing your own song, said the river. Sing your own song. Out of yesterday, song comes. It goes into tomorrow. Sing your own song. With your life, fashion beauty. This too is the song. Riches will pass and power. Beauty remains. Sing your own song. All that is worth doing, do well, said the river. Sing your own song. Certain and round be the measure, every line be graceful and true. Time is the mold, time the weaver, the carver, time and the workman together. Sing your own song. Sing well, said the river. Sing well. It is very difficult to sing one's own song, to listen to the melody of one's own spirit and find a way by which this deep inner melody can become the music that comes from one's life, from one's living. To hear the sound of one's own heart and spirit, this is what is meant here. And this is difficult because all along as we develop from childhood into maturity, much of our time is spent on trying to find out the songs that others are singing and to see if we cannot sing their song in order that in turn we may become like them. For they are external to ourselves. They are the other than self-reference, and they are observable, and we can see how they are. And from them, sometimes, we are tempted to get the image for ourselves and try to be as we seem to think they are, or to be as they are seen as being by us. But to sing one's own song, to find one's own melody, this is hard to do, but it is the only way by which the music which you are capable of making can be made. I remember hearing a children's story one day when we were attending a church in Australia. And the story, as I remember it, is something like this. There was a puppy who had forgotten how to bark. He didn't know what the bark sound was like. So he went to a cow and he said, I have forgotten how to make my own sound. Perhaps you can help me. And the cow said, I don't know, but does your sound go like this? Moo. And the puppy said, oh, that's a lovely sound, but it isn't my sound. And then he went to a lamb or a sheep, and he said, I've forgotten how to make my sound. Perhaps you can help me. And the sheep said, bah. And he said, no, that's not my, it's a lovely sound, but it's not my sound. And then presently he saw a dog who looked just like him, running across the street. And just in front of the dog there was a cat. And when the cat disappeared over the fence, the dog barked. And the hero of the story said, ah, that's my sound. All the other sounds were good sounds. They were wonderful. They performed their sound function. They were true to the cow, they were true to the sheep, but they were not true to the puppy. And this is the point. Have you found your own sound? Have you found your own song? Or are you singing a song that is beautiful, wonderful, that says all kinds of wonderful things, but somehow it is not your sound? Now, your sound may be simple, it may be commonplace, and from your point of view, it may seem so ordinary that it isn't worth sounding. But it is all the sound that you have. And when you make that sound, then you can be unanimous within yourself, so that what you see yourself as being, you not only are, but you can, in another dimension, become. Sing your own song, said the river. Sing your own song. Out of yesterday, song comes. It goes into tomorrow. Sing your own song. With your life fashion beauty, this too is the song. Riches will pass and power, beauty remains. Sing your own song. All that is worth doing, do well, said the river. Sing your own song. Certain and round be the measure, every line be graceful and true. Time is the mold, time the weaver, the carver, time and the workman, you, together. Sing your own song. Sing well, said the river. Sing well. And if you sing your song, then God, who is the creator of life and all the living substances, will be able to sing his song through you. Do not default. Do not betray the integrity of your own sound. Sing your own song, says the river. Sing truly, sing true. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer.
This program was pre-recorded.
This is tape number ET64 from the library of the Howard Thurman Educational Trust. This is Side 2, entitled A Way of Life Worth Living.
Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. I'm beginning today by reading from Deep is the Hunger. He had buried 60 American sailors who had lost their lives in the fearful bombing his ship had been given in the early afternoon. As the chaplain and his group of men started toward the landing crafts, One of the sailors said, "Sir, there's another body over there, a Jap." The chaplain looked, while saying with just a slight tone of irritation in his spirit, "What, another one?" He was tired, nauseated, and exhausted in body and in spirit. The men were all for throwing the dead man in the bush, as they had become accustomed to doing. The chaplain bent over to examine the body to discover that he was the pilot whose ship had done so much damage to their outfit. It was a moment of great searching of hearts. His mind was made up. He called his men together and addressed them as follows: "Men, we must find the right thing to do this afternoon, the right thing to do in the light of eternity. Of course, I know you say that he is a suicide because his orders were to dive his plane into our ship. But in a sense, I'm the same kind of suicide. I have a genuine admiration for this man. Too, he is a human being. I find no hatred in my heart for him, and if you search your own hearts, you may not find hatred for him either. I ask you to help, not because of any future that you and I may have together, but I do want you to know that in a God-forsaken island in the Pacific, you and your chaplain, faced with the naked challenge to the essential humaneness of mankind, sought a level of rightness that transcends the vicissitudes both of fortune and of circumstances. I shall not give him a Christian burial because that would profane his own religious faith that differs from our own. But this we will do. Let us kneel and pray to our own God in the presence of this dead man as an act of reverence in our own hearts. This act will unite us beyond all conflict and beyond all madness. When this is done, we will bury him with a headstone that bears no name because we do not know his name, but with the simple inscription, Japanese pilot, and the date. Perhaps this act of reverence is an expression of the right thing in the eyes of eternity. For a long time I sat in silence as the words, the terrible words, would not be stilled. The right thing. The right thing. Do the right thing this day. The right thing in the eyes of eternity. Each one of us is, in one way or another, deeply concerned about finding for himself a way of life that is worth living, to find something that will give to the ordinary round of living and functioning a sense of meaning that transcends the particular vicissitudes under which one may be living, that transcends even the particular series of events by which one's life is surrounded. A way of life that is worth living can be found, I think, only when an individual has discovered what for him is a radical test for his life, a sense of something being at stake in the daily round. One of the very interesting contributions made during the last World War was made in a rather unexpected way.
You may recall that there was a rather universal registration of all male adults up to certain ages. There was also something else that involved every individual in the country. It was the registration of the intent to consume goods, sugar, to use gasoline, tires, meats, fats, butter, and so forth. In other words, every citizen had to register specifically and concretely his name and indicate his intent. Now, this very simple thing, whatever may be one's private attitude towards the whole notion or concept of conscription or proscription with reference to matters of that sort, the basic fact to which I call your attention is this, that every individual in the country had a sense of being involved in something that was at stake, that included his life, even with reference to the cup of coffee that he drank in the morning. So that every time he used a teaspoonful of sugar, every time he used in his car a gallon of gasoline, he registered a certain sense of involvement, which meant that the great national life itself, the integrity of the nation, the whole dream, which is a part of the common heritage of all citizens, was at stake at the level of the simple deed of the ordinary person. Now this is an indication of the sort of thing that's in my mind. We find a way of life that is worth living when in the daily round we have a sense of being critically and crucially involved in terms of the meaning of the decisions that we make and the deeds that we do. Now this suggests then that a way of life that is worth living is available to a person who has a basis of for all of his integrated action, a point of referral for his life, in the light of which he is able to define the meaning of the things that he is doing, or even the meaning of right and wrong. Now, each one of us is born with a basic sense of value. This is structural in personality. Now, the content of the sense of value, the specific meaning of a deed in terms of whether it is right or wrong, is something that is the result of training, of one's social heritage, of one's religious orientation. A whole combination of things enter into the meaning of a particular deed in terms of whether it is right or wrong. Now, this content, value content, is something for which the individual has a specific responsibility. Now, it is this that provides the point of referral for the particular deed. I ask you then, is your life flabby? Do you have any sense of values by which you can determine for yourself the meaning of a particular deed? Or must you always find the meaning of your deed in the opinion, the judgment, the attitude of someone else? Now, you cannot find a way of life that is worth living unless you have discovered a basis of action for your life. And this means that at the center of your life there must be a hard core of purpose, something that decides for you the things against which you will stand with your life and the things for which you will stand with your life. Now, if you have made such a discovery, then the deeds that you do, the decisions that you make, in fact, the kind of human being that you are or that you may become will be set for you within a rather tight circle of meaning, which is for you, your hard core of purpose. This means, then, that there will always be available to you, close at hand, judgment that is swift and meaningful, so that in the living of your life, something vital will be at stake in every decision that you make, in all of the important deeds by which your life is characterized. And on the basis of this thing that is vital, you will know whether or not you have found for yourself a way of life that is worth living. Do what you do with the full-of consciousness that what you do means something in terms of eternity and in terms of tomorrow and today. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my Redeemer.